Hey guys, Mrs. Clark coming to you from my house. Welcome to my house. Hey, we are going to start these book clubs, and if I already met with you, this is just a nice refresher for you. If I haven't met with you, you really need to watch this video to know what your job is for a book club. Book clubs are really super fun. It's it's something that adults do. Mrs. Clark and Mrs. Hammerquist read books all the time, and we have a book club. So they're really fun. You get to read a book on your own, independently, and then you meet as a group and you really discuss that story. Maybe you're like, oh, this part was so funny, and you guys can all laugh about it. Or if it's a sad book, you guys could be like, oh, that part was so touching and so sad, and oh my goodness, I can't believe it. So the goal of a book club is to read a book, talk about it, and then read as many books as you possibly can in a whole year. The more we read, the more we know, and it is just so fun to get caught up in a book and just have fun with it. So some of you I've met with and some of you I haven't, so just make sure that you watch this video to know what your job is this week. This first group is reading The New Puppy from the Black Lagoon. I've already met with you, so this is just a nice refresher. Mrs. Hammerquist is going to print off this page so that you can really read it and just remind yourself what you're supposed to do this week. So the first week, which is October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, your job is to read chapters 1 and chapters 2. So the first thing you need to do is set up your reading journal. The first step is to glue in that tab sheet on the first page of your spiral notebook. You guys should have already done this with me. If for some reason the glue didn't hold or you weren't paying attention and you didn't glue it down, make sure you glue this page in to your first page in your journal so that you can find this. This is a really important part of our book club. We read the first chapter, and then we use this page to respond to our reading so that we make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. So the next step is going to be writing the title of your book at the top of your page, the chapter that you're reading, a box for unknown words, and then a response area on that same page. So let me show you an example. So here's my first page for my new book. Every time I get a new book, I'm so excited to read it. So it's really nice to be able to decorate the first page. The most important part is to write the title down. If you don't write the title down, you're going to get lost in your journal as to which book you're writing about. So make sure you put in your title. So I chose to use purple, and I wrote down my title up here. The next thing that I did was I wrote, which chapter am I reading? If you don't write the chapter that you're reading and writing about, then you're going to get lost in your journal, because eventually we're going to be reading so many books and it's going to have chapter 1 on every page or so, and then you're just going to get lost. So make sure you have the title and then which chapter you're reading about. The box for unknown words is so important. When you're reading and you're like, I don't know this word, and you're trying to read it in the sentence and it's just not making sense, write down the word and then what page number it came on, so that when you meet with the teacher, you can be like, okay, this word right here, the word was, I don't know, let's just say twister. If the word was twister and you're like, oh, I just can't figure out this word, I can't read it, you're going to write down twister, and it was on page 72. So then when you meet with your teacher, you can say, okay, on page 72, the word was twister, or you can say, I don't know this word. Then we'll read the sentence together and we'll work as a group to figure out what it is and what it means, okay? If you don't have any words that you don't know, when you're done reading the chapter, you can just put none or 0 in the box. But having that box there will remind you to write down those words that you don't know. So that is a very important part. Then you want to write a little heading that says response or response to reading so that you don't forget to respond to what you just read. So now that your journal is set up and it looks amazing and you're so excited to read chapter 1, now it's time to read chapter 1. So I have that. Now you're ready to read chapter 1. So you sit down and you can have your journal right next to you so that you can write down those unknown words, and then you're reading your chapter. When you get to chapter 2, stop. Hold your horses. Don't keep reading. If you keep reading, then you forgot to respond to chapter 1. And that's step 3. After you finish with chapter 1, pick something from the tab page to write about for chapter 1. So there's sentence starters on there, or you can come up with your own. And our goal right now is to write 2 sentences at least. So you're going to come to this page right here and you're going to jot. It says, I can jot about any of these things. So something that you found that was interesting, something that you're thinking about now, something that you're wondering, or something that you feel or connected with on that page. So let's say you wanted to say what was interesting. Here are some sentence starters that you can use. So you can say, in the story, I thought that this was interesting, or I learned that this happened. You can also say what you're thinking about, something that you predict will happen next in the book, or I'm thinking that this person is going to do this next. Or what are you wondering about? I have a question about this. So you would write the words, I have a question about, and then you would write your question. Or this one is super fun, something that you feel or something you connect to. So when I read chapter 1, I felt this way. Or you know what? When this happened in the book, it reminds me of the time that I did this in my own life. This is what makes book clubs so awesome, because after you write your response, you're going to meet with your group when Mrs. Hammerquist or Mrs. Clark pulls you to talk, and you're going to share these out. So make sure you have your responses done so that you have something to talk about. If you don't have your responses done, you're just going to have to sit and listen, and we won't get to hear your amazing, awesome things that happen in your life and what you think about the book. Okay? So then after you respond, so on your page, you're going to have a sentence here. This reminded me of this when I was a little kid. Okay, now your journal for chapter 1 is done. Okay, now you're on step number 4. Set up your journal for your next chapter. So you don't have to write the title now because your title was on chapter 1 page. Now you're going to write chapter 2 and a box for unknown words and then a response area. Okay, so here's my chapter 1 page with my title up top here. My chapter 2 page looks a little bit more simple. It just says, hey, this is chapter 2. Here's my unknown words box, and here's my response area that I'm going to respond to when I'm done reading chapter 2. Now you have your page ready, and now you're ready to read. So now put your journal next to you, open your book, read chapter 2, and then you get to go to your response page, think of something to write about, and then write it in your response area in your journal. Now you are done because step 5 is read chapter 2, then respond. Now you're going to stop. After chapter 2, just stop. I know the book is so amazing, you just want to keep on reading, but hold your horses. Because a book club, you don't want to get too far ahead of the curve, because then you are a person who spills the beans. We don't want to spill the beans, okay? So stop at chapter 2. Mrs. Hammerquist on Wednesday is going to call your group, and so she'll say, hey, if you're in the book club reading The New Puppy from the Black Lagoon, please come meet with me. And you're going to bring your journal and your book. Don't forget your book. And you guys are going to talk about it. Now, every day when you work on this, it's going to be when Mrs. Hammerquist or Mrs. Clark has a group of kids she's working on. You are working on not interrupting her groups and making sure that you are independently working. Okay, so the only reason why you should go and talk to her, well, you're not going to talk to her. You're going to walk up to her and you're going to give the bathroom signal, and she's going to say yes or she's going to say no. You are independent, so don't ask for the bathroom if you look and there's no passes. Only ask for the bathroom if there is a pass that is there. If you have any other things that you need to talk to her about, you're going to stop and be patient. Unless someone is bleeding, barfing, or breathless. They can't catch their breath. Only then do you need to interrupt her group. You can do this, and I'm so excited to hear what the story is about because I've never read it. So maybe I should pick up a book and read it too. Good luck and have fun!